Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us on another adventure in real estate. I'm Steve Furrow with the Kingery team at Mountain to Lake Realty. And today we have Tom Lusk from Atlantic Bay joining us. Thank you, Tom, for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Oh, Tom, I'm going to set the discussion here a little bit. Inventory from the standpoint of homes on the market is still, well, in my opinion, it's a seller's market. But we're having, the market is moving along fairly quickly. Homes are selling quickly. And so I was going to kind of pose some questions to you a little bit about, from a closing cost perspective. I actually had a seller call me up and says, hey, these closing costs in here, they look a little high. And this was a situation where the seller was being asked to pay for some closing costs, okay? So it was looking a little high, and you were kind enough to kind of put together just an example worksheet for me, and we're going to share that with the group here, with our viewers, just to give them a chance to look at that. But tell us a little bit, Tom, if you will, from your perspective, with the closing costs. Maybe kind of walk us through this, if you will, and give us some perspective, if you will, on what is or maybe is not included in a closing cost.
Be glad to. Yep. The estimated closing cost sheet there on the left, that's a consolidation of our fees, which are the top two. That's a flat fee that we charge on every loan, no matter what size, and then from there down is third-party fees, and those include the appraisal. You've got the title company, which it's several pieces to it, and then it's for each different thing that the attorney or title company is going to charge you. So it looks like a lot, but that just comes into one number. And then you've got a recording fee there, and then you've got the taxes that you have to pay the county and state, which a lot of people are shocked that they have to pay that. But the larger the loan or the larger the purchase price, the bigger that number gets. And those two numbers and the actual title commitment fee, the lender's title policy, that varies with the loan size also. So all those numbers are pretty much fixed, except for those three numbers that will vary with the cost of the house and the amount of loan that the borrower is actually taking out. So you could look at that and say that's a fair example of what it's going to be on a purchase.
And so give you a little bit more background. This was on I think right at this example was like right at $100,000 purchase, if you will. And so that's kind of where these numbers are based off of. But Tom, when we look at that left side, talk about the estimated, I mean, heaven forbid someone work with someone else other than Atlantic Bay. But if they were, they should get some information that's going to look similar. It's, as you mentioned there, those things are pretty fixed, but there's not going to be a lot of difference regardless of lender. Is that fair?
Well, you need to get, when you're shopping lenders, you don't want to just shop what's the rate, okay? Because they can offer you a very a low rate, but that low rate will usually come with a fee, okay? And that fee will appear on this sheet, mm-hmm. Okay? And it's required to be disclosed. And the thing that you would ask for from a lender would be called a loan estimate, okay? This here is a simplified form that we've used forever until the government got involved in 2009 and converted to a loan estimate, and then the closing disclosure that we use at closing, which are a number of pages. This one consolidates it all into one page and seemed to be very simple, but that all got redone in the changeover from when the government took over Fannie Freddie, which is what happened. But anyway, I would suggest that they get one and compare the total closing costs from one lender to another and see what is the difference. And then if that rate is coming with a fee, you're going to see it.
Yeah,
it'll show as what we call a discount fee, is typically what they call it. And different lenders sometimes have different names for it, but some of the lenders, they do charge, and that's standard for a lot of them, is they will charge that fee for that rate.
Right.
And we don't do that. We try to give the rate at par that doesn't cost you anything, and that's usually a better way to go, because if you don't, that discount that you're paying is all you're doing is prepaying interest up front that you're not going to have to pay going down the road. But a lot of people don't understand that.
So if I could, Tom, you mentioned total closing costs. So here on the left, we've got this estimated closing costs, and then on the right side there of the worksheet, we talk about prepaids, and I know that I've had this happen to me once or twice when maybe a buyer has been quoted the closing costs, but that didn't include the prepaids. So can you walk us through that just a little bit?
Yes, of course. And that's, you see there on the left, you got that 4,200 number. That's just the closing cost. And then on the right, you've got the total prepaid number of 1,100. And that's cumulative of the prepaid interest, which that's an estimate we have to do in the beginning. If you close at the end of the month, that number goes to zero. Right. And then your hazard premium, that goes to whatever the borrower has picked for his insurance company. You have to pay that first year's premium up front, and then the escrows, the 2 months of hazard and the 2 months of taxes, are just what you have to put into the escrow account. So the money is there the following year to pay your taxes and your insurance, or as they come due.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
The mortgage hazard insurance premium, the mortgage insurance, that's not something that you would pay. The insurance premium there, the $1,638, that's your mortgage insurance if you didn't put down 20%. So, but that all adds up to the $1,100, of course, without that 1,600 number figure in there. But anyway, that's what, when you add those two together, that's the total that you're going to be bringing to close, not the 4,200. You have to bring the 53 is what it would be.
So you add those two numbers together to give you your total closing cost.
Right.
And so it maybe is important when you're shopping with lenders to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. We've got total closing costs that includes all prepaids, and includes everything. Is that fair?
That is correct.
All right.
That is correct.
All right. Well, and in this example, this was the way this played out with the seller. We were able to use this and kind of give them an example of what they could expect. Or what the buyer would be expecting to be paid there on the closing costs, and then that give the seller a reference from that standpoint.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you providing that, Tom, helping us out there. But
Glad to.
Hopefully, for you guys that are out there watching, this has been some help to you too as we work through this. And I know Tom and the folks at Atlantic Bay would be more than willing to put together an estimate for you if you're interested in buying a home. I know they'd love to do that.
We do, and we do it every day, and we'll get it to you quickly.
Well, Tom, it's always a pleasure. We appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. And thank you guys for joining us here on this adventure in real estate. Until next time, be safe and take care.